G'day, welcome back to my string cat challenge in Corp. I have had a few suggestions since my last one on things that I can do to try and improve my efficiency here. So firstly, thank you to those that sent that through. The first one was to reduce the distance on this guy. So unfortunately nothing we can do about those two, but this guy here that's currently 1700-ish, we can drop to a 1300-ish by if we go this route. If we go, try that again. We go this route, and then we disconnect. Actually, we disconnect that one, and this one, and that one. Go through there, and we have those guys go. Where do I go? So from there up to there. I actually could probably shorten those two. If we went to sell that. Sell. Let's work this out. So if we go him to there, we get rid of that, and we make them connect. We then have this guy connect there, and this guy just bounce the other way, so he goes up to that one, and then across to there. So that slightly improves this because it gets rid of one of the long routes. I mean, now it just has left this guy stranded with heaps of people. But just upping the size of those jets around him should help that guy out. And we'll put a second plane on there. We'll just wait for him to get offset. We'll speed things up too. We don't need to hang it around at this point. Alright, now let's see if we can get the rest of these guys upgraded. Get that city updated, and we will bring in Western Sahara. Now obviously at the moment we delve pretty far back into Algeria. So what we're going to do is just similar to what we did with Algeria. We'll just upgrade a few of these countries. Not surprising that some of these guys are getting a bit overloaded when they only had one major airplane going to them. So there we go, that one's currently done. These two I could easily add in like that, but my intention is to head down this way. So, not really sold on heading up to deal with these guys, so we're just got to work out something else for these guys temporarily. The other suggestion was... Now this one was actually written out, so I need to read this as I go. Where did I save that? Alright. So this one was to do with our long routes at the top here. You could possibly connect... I'm going to have to zoom in further. This guy with the southernmost city in Greenland should be this guy. So firstly, let's ask the question. 2,300 versus 2,400. Somehow that's considered longer. And is that the longest route currently in this thing? No, that's by far the longest route. It's just... I don't know if possibly it just is very against heading south. And you can see that that doesn't look like anywhere near as far as that. It's really unclear about like whether this is what distance is getting impacted here, like whether I'm paying more but it's actually like slightly less. Like say, for example, if I was attempting to say go straight across, it would be a good sort of square place to try and work this out. Let's say France. We were running from That's going to be too high because there's too many countries. Too many cities, rather. Alright, so if we went, say, from here, and we ran across straight out, it's going to be 1,000 if he gets to there, but if we wanted to go diagonally, that does seem like it is maintaining the same amount of distance. Okay. But we'll continue the thought anyway. It was... connect that to the southernmost city in Greenland, so bounce from there to there. We'll just have a look. So that's 2-4. That's 2-4, so they're about the same, but that's 2-3, so it's still similar. But like I said, this is our longest one, so if we can reduce this, we're open to it. So from there, so make that connection and then bounce up to... Bounce up. And then connect the second most southern city, this guy, with St. John, which is that one. So that would be that. Which also is almost about the same distance as that one. As it stands, no. So if we just look at it as a comparison of these two cities here, because I think that distances look really weird on this map about what, because there's no way that that looks like that's like a sixth longer than that one is. I think that was a sixth. But if we go from this one, the closest guy currently is 3,100. Closest guy to this guy is 2,900. So as it stands, that is still the closest connection between these two, and that is arguably the longest trip. Arguably, because I think the University of My Eyes studies say that this one is longer. So we will keep that as is for now. We will continue to add our Western Saharan cities. I think this is a minorly controversial one. Western Sahara. I think this is one of the ones where people question its validity of being shown on the map. But again, it is not somewhere that I know very much about. So let's have a quick learn about it. What is it currently considered? Okay, so about 20% of the territory is controlled by the self-proclaimed Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, while the remaining 80% of the territory is occupied and administered by neighboring Morocco. One of the most sparsely populated territories in the world. Population estimated of just over 500,000. Where nearly 40% of those live in Layun. Layun? This guy. So that's interesting. So I guess that, what was it previously just part of Morocco? Its most populous territory on the list of United Nations list of non-self-governing territories. A fun little fact for you. So its pathing is completely fine for what I'm wanting to do. That basically from this guy we would bounce down and around through these three guys. The only question is, how do we connect these 5 cities? So currently, just to have them sort of out of the way, this is what we're going to do. That. Get rid of... Sell that route, we will sell that route, and we will sell that route. It's certainly not the prettiest of designs that we have. But I mean, if you have a vote on what you think the prettiest design in this layout is, I would love to hear it. There is part that seems like it would be fun that once you've got all the cities with like an insane amount of cities on the map, is to just clear it out and then just slowly just sort of zigzag your way all the way up a continent. And again, probably not the most efficient way of doing it. This guy here is struggling, and he is all to do with stuff heading out north, which I think is this one. So let's give him a 300-seater. Alright, now we've added those Algerian cities just into the middle of the Algerian route. We can add our Western Saharan cities. I mean, the interesting thing is that, like, I realize that for the most part this map is countries. And I think that possibly the argument is that it might not be a country. But they're not all the case. New Caledonia isn't a country. It's also, New Caledonia was also today's Wordle, if you are playing along and you want a timestamp of when I made this video. I don't know if we're going to get many more Western Saharan cities. If 40% of the population are living in here, I imagine it's going to be pretty sparse. So I did say last time that I thought I'd bring in Libya, because I expect half of the cities of Libya will be connected through the middle of Tunisia. So Tunisia will come down here, go into Libya, and then come back around and go out. But the cities on this side I really do want to give to Egypt. So it probably would almost be the last African nation that I get, because I come up through here and out and then add him, and then we can just sort of like divide Libya between the countries around it. So with that in mind, our other actual add on this one is going to be Mauritania. And because that capital is so far south, let's just do what we did with Western Sahara and let him come in. And we'll reduce passenger flow to see if we can get fewer passengers on the line and potential success. The guy can dream. New York, Los Angeles. So, well, New York's one direction? No, they're all the same direction for him. It's all this way. That's a very small route for... I mean, I suppose that guy's got two fully fledged jets on him. Let's sell that guy and replace him with just a smaller plane, because everything else beyond that isn't that same size. So obviously he must have got his two jets prior to me doing it in not full-size jets. Now, Mauritania, I assume, if that's still considered the Sahara all the way over here, then presumably this is also desert. So maybe Mauritania is the northernmost part is all that similar desert. Learn about Mauritania. So population of Mauritania is about 4.5 million. There we go, that's the sort of city we're looking for, something along the top. It is culturally and politically part of the Arab world. A member of the Arab League, and Arabic is its sole official language. I don't know. Definitely Arabic history and North African history is something that I'm not well schooled on. Is anyone, is my question. if you were watching this and you were from anywhere in the world that isn't Australia, and you did learn about African history, I'm going to say at any level, even if you took a university course in Northern African history, I will be thoroughly interested in hearing that. Obviously, Egypt is the popular one that gets plenty. But beyond that, a majority of these countries I only know from World Cup soccer. I think Nigeria and Senegal, and I know that in 2019 there was the first, was it African Nations Cup, and I was in Madagascar when that took place, which was quite cool because the Madagascans were very excited for that to be going on, and we were staying in not Antananarivo. What's the other one? The other sort of city in the middle. Again, I will quickly correct my Antananarivo. So we're staying in Antananarivo on the day the first match was on, and there was nowhere we could watch. The hotel rooms didn't have TVs or anything like that. It's a shame because it'd be really cool to watch. Soccer isn't my first preference of sport, but it's more one thing I do really enjoy is passion for sport. And if the Madagascan people that are going to be there are going to be really into it, then absolutely, let's watch it. And word came back to us when we were sort of like going to our rooms that they'd found a place where we could watch it. So me and 3 of the other guys, who were 2 Welshmen and an Englishman, went with our beers, and the driver and the guide, who were both Madagascan, to go watch the game in this person's house. It was just a guy and his son, and I think possibly a few other family members that were just in there watching it on still like a deep TV, like not a modern flat screen or anything like this. This is Madagascar is one of the 10th poorest countries in the world, so they're still catching up on technology. And it was one of those nice, really old school deep TVs, just on one of those in these guys' lovely little house, and we got to watch Madagascar win their first ever international match, which was neat. Loved it, and can't remember who they beat. Doesn't much matter. Go Madagascar. We've ended up with a lot of cities in Mauritania there. A lot of cities. So I think that... I don't quite know how Mali's going to fit into it, where their cities are going to be located. But again, I've got to assume that they're going to be avoiding the Sahara Desert. So what we'll do is we will skip Mali for now, and we will jump straight into Senegal as our next country. I have to zoom in real close to get that tiny little route. That's a new one. I don't think I've ever noticed a gaming exhibition going on before. Ascension. Where's Ascension? Whoop, wrong one. Alright, let's get all these guys going. Mauritania would also be a country that I would say I would regularly misplace in the world. If you said point out Mauritania on a map, to me that has a very Middle Eastern name to it. Mauritania sounds like it's part of the Jordan section of the world. Ah, probably it's actually easier just to delete the route and have an uninstall uninstall for other planes. Yeah, this is what I sort of expect from this section, that we're gonna just sort of loop around the outside. Alright, Senegal. Dakar. Dakar. I assume Dakar would be the pronunciation there. Looks like there's just a few new reasons for places to be getting visited. I mean, that's possibly been in place for a while and I've just not read them. I think with the pictures, I'm now paying more attention to, oh, what's that picture related to? One thing I don't know about this as well, I know that I read Michelle Obama's book. They talked about how they visited Africa at one point and went to some gates that were the gates, essentially that a lot of slaves would have passed through when they were being taken from Africa to America. But I don't know where that is. I don't know what. I've heard of the slave coast of Africa, but I actually don't know what countries would be counted within it. I know that on one of my previous videos, someone did write a interesting explanation about Liberia being where a lot of liberated slaves returned to. That's why it's got the name Liberia. I would assume that it must be down in this section. So we just gotta, let's sell that. Let's bring Gambia into this. We'll just get the inevitable of its city sitting between these connections. Alright, so it's sort of... This was a point where Guinea was bigger. The major slave trading regions of Africa from the 15th to the 19th century looks like it would have been from the Guinea all the way around, and skipping a little bit in the middle here, around Gabon, and then down in Angola. I would, yeah, probably as far south as Angola. Yeah, I don't know if that connection should stay. I mean, probably that way would be get rid of a longer connection. We know we're going to bounce down into Guinea. Guinea, a very popular name of a country. There's what, 3 of them? Guinea-Bissau? I've got to assume it's French. Bissau seems a very French word. And you've got Guinea, and then all the way over we have Papua New Guinea. Now this guy I'm just going to leave. It's interesting that it's a region. But what's a single, like, for places I guess that are regions, is Kidogo region like a town named Kidogo region? Or is it just a region? It's a region of Senegal. Population of 152,000 people. I think the word... I don't think the word region should really be in its title there. I think it should just be called Kindo, unless it wants to stipulate the difference between it not being an actual city and it's instead a region. Keep good times going and bringing in a few more of these little countries. A few little planes still on the go here. That stops travel. That doesn't mean that Bissau Guinea can't enjoy a little bit of time traveling back and forth between its two locations. So it does seem like a little bit of a sparing sort of space between a lot of the cities here. Actually, one question I have is, what is the population by continent? I've never really wondered, like, what sort of the size of the different ones that are in total. Like, obviously, like, what, half the world would live in Asia. There we go. So 60% of the world's population lives in Asia. 18% of the world's population lives in Africa. 10% live in Europe. 8.3% live in Latin America and the Caribbean. 4.7% live in North America. And 0.5% live in Oceania. Alright, with that we could probably just hop over there now and make that connection. Is that guy not upgraded? He's not. How are we looking? Look at that! What is happening? Iceland's blocked? How are we... Let's slow things down if we're... What are you doing sitting so small? It is quite funny to suggest that potentially because so many passengers can't get to their destination because the dead center of the world here is currently cut off. Oh, it's not really the center yet, it's getting close to it. But it means that all the people going to the Americas from here won't be going anywhere. And look at that. Bask in the glory that there's no warning sitting here. For I think the first time in, what, 20-something episodes. Yellowknife. Right back to it. Yellowknife's what, up the top here somewhere? Yellowknife sounds very, Canadian. I mean, if anything, it's just more impressive that Larry made it all the way to zero. While being only a 200-person airport. Well, there we are. We're just now broken. So, I mean, possibly I'm just taking advantage of a broken system as well here. Let's get back in there. Well, currently it's just not there at all. So Let's see how quickly that changes once Iceland opens up again. But at least for a little bit of time we can take advantage of full money. Now St. Domingo has a fully fledged jet blasting back and forth between it. This still stays in contention as a thing that people will argue is breaking the system. And I would happily correct it. So feel free to see if you can think of a way that would fix this. It doesn't necessarily make it shorter, but would at least make it look less crisscrossy. I have found that the best way to suggest this, if you like, is on my YouTube page. There's my Twitter handle. Feel free to draw a picture of the connections. Take a picture, a screenshot of this, and then just draw over the top of it. I found has been very handy for those that have done it. I mean, quite possibly it's just that. Actually, that would work, wouldn't it? So if we just sell that route and that route, and we put him straight across there, slow things down here so they don't go nuts, and we sell that, and we connect those two. Yeah, problem solved. But yeah, for any route changes that you like, feel free to draw pictures. When someone does try and write it as a description, I do try and follow what's going on. Pictures are certainly handy. There we go, we're back. Not unsurprisingly, with Iceland being out of play for a little while, they are going to get absolutely pounded by... How has Hoff survived that long as a... Iceland get broken in that little exchange? Seems like they must have. They all like corrected again? I didn't think I upped them all that far. Alright. Like I said, the other potential thing you could do here is just run Iceland to the UK isn't too bad. So say you ran this guy in some way that was more direct, but let him have jets. I can't say it. I think this is almost just how I've got to accept the layout of that part. Three 4 versus 3-1. 2-1 versus 2-7. 2-6. So I could draw on him there. But the thing is that he's shorter than that already. So it would mean that this guy would get significantly shorter, but then this guy would be worse off. So my worst line would get worse. I mean, we're still sort of holding it at correcting here. What happened? Did we just suddenly have a whole bunch of people just stop flying everywhere? Are we broken again? Because look, we're now just clear again. And we'll say, no, we don't want to decrease it. Because we want to just bask in the glory of our no penalty. We'll probably would make more money having no penalties than we would having those penalties. But I don't know where everyone's gone. It's sort of complaining and fixing itself so quickly that I'm not even getting directed towards what cities are the ones I need to be addressing. Alright, well, I guess we'll enjoy that. And as we do, we reach the end of another one. Now, the next one should be pretty fun, because I reckon we're going to be able to unlock a whole big swing of countries. I mean, we did get 4 out here. And I look forward to getting out a whole bunch more. Alright, any questions or comments, feel free to chuck them below. Any way you think that I can improve the route, don't hesitate to let me know. I'm always open to options. And until next time, I'll catch you later.